It's halftime of the Division VII state championship game. The end zone, a place Fort Recovery has entered a lot so far in the first half. 27-7. The Indians in the lead at halftime. 1 half to play. If Fort Recovery is going to win its first state championship ever, they only have 1 half to keep it going. It looks really good right now. For Mogadore, not the same. They're looking for its fourth state championship. Things not going well for them. Dave Chudowsky, Ryan Cavanaugh, just going to hit you with this right off the bat. Are you surprised?
I am surprised, but I'm not sure that I should be. Looking back at it, we're talking about a team from the MAC who only has 2 losses, both to defending state champs from last year, Minster and Marion Local. So, knowing that brand of football, knowing the caliber of opposition they beat week in and week out, this should have been an expected result, but I know Mogadore and how good they are. So yes, the lead that Fort Recovery has right now, I am surprised by that.
And what did I just say to you right before we started this halftime show? I said, watching that first half, they looked like Coldwater.
I mean,
we're watching that type of football, the first game and then the first half now.
I could not agree with you more about that, Chud. I mean, technically sound, these kids know where they're supposed to be. They're very good tacklers. They're always in the correct position, and they're making few mistakes. And surprisingly, it's been Mogadore who has really been hurt by penalties, and we're going to see some of that here during halftime.
This game took a major turn right out of the gate. Let's take a look at that. And that was an interception, kind of set the tone for Fort Recovery, and they have a lot of picks on the year. As you see, Will Holman gets it done.
Yeah, this is the sophomore Will Holman. But you know what? He gets a little help, as I think we're going to see here. Look at the official.
Yep.
He actually screens the receiver, and Will Holman's there. And then off the back of this is the first touchdown. It's Tanner Cook, or I'm sorry, that's
Darian Sheffer, and that was a great touchdown, 15 yards. To see him get that last burst into the end zone.
Both Sheffer and Cook have used their speed to take advantage of the defensive backs. What they came out and did, meaning Fort Recovery, is they hit that 5-yard hitch. They gave it to those 2 skill players on the outside, and then they were able to make moves and get yards after the catch. And what we're going to see, and what we saw in the first half, and we'll take a look at, is those short passes opened up some of the deeper passes for Fort Recovery.
Okay, that made it 7-0, but there would be more for Fort Recovery, and the Indians aided by mistakes, a late hit and then an offside penalty.
That's a big reception by Wes Wenning, and then Mogadore hurt there. Here's an offsides when you're inside the red zone, and when a team like Fort Recovery is coming on offense, you can't afford to help them out.
There's Tanner Cook with the touchdown to make it 14-0. So right there, mistakes at this level, right here in the state championship game, those kind of mistakes will just destroy you.
And not only are the mistakes going to hurt you, but when you're playing a team like the Indians, they take those mistakes and they turn it into points. That's happened twice in this first half, and we're going to see the mistakes continued both penalty-wise as well as turnovers. It's been a tough half for Mogadore, and Fort Recovery, to their credit, has not squandered those opportunities. They've taken advantage of them.
14-0 the score at that point, but Mogadore comes back, and it starts with their defense. Wildcat defense comes up big here, Ryan, on 4th down.
Yeah, here's a big hit. One of the few times they got in clean on Caleb Martin. And then it's Zeddy Pollock to Jared Dunn, the deep pass.
Dunn, yeah. And then Dunn's also going to find the end zone here, the only time they get in the end zone. This is a pretty touchdown, huh?
Yeah, and Pollock threw it up for him. Look at the pass, and then good adjustment by Jared Dunn coming back to the football. But that all started on the route. Jared Dunn got behind his man, created that separation.
17 yards to make it 14-7. Real quick, credit to the referee there. He got the call right, no hesitation, because at first it looked like maybe he didn't. But then when you look at it, it's amazing. These high school refs, they're doing a great job, and they don't need replay. They're just getting it done right off the bat.
Right. Well, this is our 3rd game. We've seen 2.5 games, and I have yet to see a blown call by an official. And Chud, you know, we do games throughout the state week in and week out every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and these are some of the best officials I've seen at any level. They're doing a great job here this weekend.
Okay, Fort Recovery, they give up the touchdown there, but they come right back and they go back to the offense, and there weren't any penalties to aid this drive, or it wasn't a long drive. It was just simply a 75-yard touchdown for Brandon Shane. 122 yards receiving in the first half for that gentleman. The missed extra point. Take a look at it again, Ryan, and that made it 20-7.
You know what stands out to me, Chud, is your comparison to Coldwater, and we're going to see a missed extra point here, which at the time, we're thinking, hey, special teams is going to play a role. We didn't expect Fort Recovery to keep the offense rolling. But back to my point on Coldwater, the similarities between Fort Recovery and Coldwater on the field is one thing, but they have so many weapons. I mean, we've mentioned Shane, we've mentioned Sheffer, Wes Wenning, and of course Tanner Cook. That's 4 receivers, and we're not even counting Will Homan for weapons that we've now surrounded Caleb Martin with.
Yeah, you're not just relying on one guy. Multiple guys they can get you with, and they've showed that in the first half. We have to take this time out. We have much more as we look forward to the second half here. We'll be right back on Sports Time, Ohio. Tanner Cook with the touchdown for Fort Recovery to give Fort Recovery a 27-7 lead at halftime. The Division VII state championship right here on Sports Time, Ohio. As we take a look at the first half stats, Ryan Cavanaugh, what jumps out at you there?
They're lopsided. Look at the yardage. I mean, Fort Recovery 307, Mogadore 136, and the total plays 40 to 27, plays of 10+ yards. 13-5. Fort Recovery's making the big plays, and Mogadore isn't an offense that's not allowing them to really break any big plays. But of course, there's always 2 teams on the field. You can't just say it's Mogadore. It's just Fort Recovery defense.
We kind of saw it last night in the Division III game where Hoban took a lead and you wondered if Central Catholic would get back in. You kind of thought they might. And that's kind of what happened here in the first half as well. Fort Recovery got up, but then Mogadore comes back. You think, all right, the Wildcats are going to get back in this. But Fort Recovery just kept pushing and pushing. And a big reason why is in this next VO here as we take a look. More mistakes. And this right here, I don't even think it was designed, was it?
No,
a fake punt. So I don't know what you call it a mistake, but Mogadore, you got to stop them there.
It's a second opportunity. You're giving Fort Recovery new life and a second opportunity. Here's a face mask penalty on Will Homan, which sets him up.
And here's the touchdown right there. That's Cook, his second of the day. 13-play, 75-yard drive for the 27-7 lead. Very impressive first half. Speaking of impressive, I think we would agree the difference maker, at least for me, the top guy that stands out right now is Caleb Martin.
Oh, we agree.
Yeah, he is having an unbelievable first half.
Look, we saw the Coldwater game, and I said, I can't believe how good Jack Hemmelgarn is, Offensive Player of the Year. I can't believe how well Caleb Martin is throwing the football. Look at the numbers. 277, 4 touchdowns, error-free on the turnovers.
Championship game record there, as you see.
Right, and that's for a game, and he still has another half to play. But you see him here going across his body accurately. He's able to throw on the run. He's able to throw out of the pocket. He's shown pocket presence and patience, which are things you don't always see out of a quarterback, especially just a junior. He's got the big arm, and so far, intermediate, short, and deep passes, Caleb Martin has shown me everything that he can make all the throws with the appropriate tempo on the ball.
I think we talked about it, too, in the pregame, the film study of that guy, and you just see how prepared he is, and It's really showing on the field. How about the other quarterback?
Well, Zeddy Pollock's numbers aren't bad either. He's 7 of 12, 65 yards. There's a touchdown. There's also an interception. But, what I'd like to see out of Zeddy, this is a nice pass there to Jared Dunn, and both of them were to Jared Dunn on that drive, and then here's the touchdown. But what I'd like to see out of Zeddy Pollock is to step into the ball and drive it. Too many of these passes have too much air. They were hanging in the air for too long, which allows the defense of Fort Recovery to recover, no pun intended, recover on a receiver who beat you, and then make a play on the football. Zeddy, put a little more juice on that ball and close up, tighten up the window of opportunity for the defender to make up for what your wide receiver's doing to get open.
I believe you did intend it, by the way, but that's all right.
Well, believe what you want.
Take this time out here on Sports Time Ohio. What's the key to the second half? That's next after this timeout. We're just over 3 minutes before we start the second half of the Division VII State Championship. 27-7. Fort Recovery in the lead. Dave Chudowsky, Ryan Cavanaugh back with you. Final thoughts here. Key to the second half for me is this, all right? Chuck Kyle, St. Ignatius, Steve Speck down in St. Xavier. 2 of the masters at going in at halftime and completely changing a game when you think the game is over. That's what I'm putting it on Mogadore right now. I want to see the coaches come out and make a game plan that's going to get this team back in it, because I feel the Wildcats are not this much worse of a team, 27-7.
Yeah, and you know what? You might be right, but what they need to do is stick to the game plan, in my opinion. Give Austin Williams a football, Luke Kramer. Let's establish that run, and then allow Zeddy to settle in and start. Zeddy's got to start throwing the ball a little harder. I mean, they've got some receivers. You got to start using them. And if I'm in the Fort Recovery locker room and I'm Coach Niekamp, I'm keeping my foot on the pedal. I'm pressing the gas down, and I'm finishing the job. Before we go, Chud, I got to put this out there. In the town of Fort Recovery, there's 1,430 people. Fort Recovery sold over 2,100 tickets for this game. That means the entire town is here, plus 700 others that they found on the way. That's a turnout for their first ever D7 state championship.
All right, Ryan Cavanaugh, thank you. Underwood, Stams, Collins, they have the rest of the action coming your way. Second half is next. We'll see you after the game.